Moving to a hybrid way of working is going to be the new norm in the short term and in the medium term, and who knows, maybe long term. But as a leader, how do you optimize your own performance and also the performance of your team when you're in this hybrid method? In this video, I'm going to talk about the 5 ways that you can optimize your team's performance and your performance. Hi, my name is Lee Eldridge, human performance coach at Cognitive Athlete, and over the last 15 years, I've been working in high performance sports and business environments, getting to understand what good leadership is and what bad leadership is. And over the last 18 months, I've been able to see the progression between working remotely and now into this hybrid model. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the ways that we can help to maintain our performance and maintain our team's performance. So let's get to these 5 points, and first off is setting structure. So first off, setting structure. It's clear that working in a hybrid model has allowed people autonomy. And what I mean by that is when to travel into the office, when to work from home, and has allowed us to be able to kind of set and control our own day-to-day work schedules. The problem is that this allows lots of freedom. And as a leader, we need to be able to set some structure. And what do I mean by this? Well, what you want to do is define clear days that you are going to be in the office, and define clear days that you would like your team to be in for team meetings, weekly debriefs, whatever it might be. And this is the structure that you set yourself to 90–95% of the time. Of course, for example, if a big client comes in or you need to travel to a big client, then that may change that day. However, you need to communicate that to your team, and you need to communicate early in the week or the weeks before that. By creating this set structure, you're going to help other people set their structure and be able to understand and plan. The biggest benefit of working remotely is not having to commute. So what I'm finding with the leaders that I'm working with is that they've been able to kind of pick up 2 or 3 hours extra a day to be able to do work. Now, whether we think that is right or wrong is a different discussion. But now what happens is that we kind of want to come back to working into the office, we're automatically going to lose those 2 to 3 hours. So we need to be able personally to plan it, but also to communicate that to our team. Another point to add is that not only do you want to structure the day, you actually want to structure what's happening in that day. For example, when are you going to meet at what time? Ideally, I prefer people to stay away from team meetings between the hours of 9 to 11, because most people get their most important tasks, or that's where they're at their peak performance. So really, if we could have a meeting at, say, between 11 to 12 or 2 till 3 in that day from a team's perspective, that can really help to set the tone of the day and make sure that everybody is able to perform the best of their ability. Number 2, set clear goals. Now, you might have heard of me talking about the importance of setting goals and also the problems with setting goals. The problem with setting goals is that they're finite, whether we achieve it or we don't, and then people use that as motivation, but it can be heavily demotivating if we don't reach our goals. However, setting clear goals on a daily, weekly and monthly basis is vital for a team's performance. You see it time and time again in professional team sports, whereby I guarantee that they will be using goals and setting goals every day in terms of training sessions on the pitch, in the gym, week to week, month to month. By allowing that, you are creating a sense of purpose or what somebody should be doing. Because if you think about it, we're kind of in that limbo scenario whereby we might be in the office kind of knowing exactly what we're doing, compared to when we're not in the office and we're working remotely. There might be times when people are like, I'm not sure what the goal is of today, or I'm not sure what I need to be doing. So as a leader, if you can communicate early in this process and succinctly in this process, you're going to see the benefits and get your team sustaining their performance and working and moving forward. As a high-performing leader, what are your biggest concerns about a hybrid model? Take some time now, maybe stop the video to write down what are your biggest concerns with yourself and your team. Is it productivity? Is it losing talent? Is it increased workload because of having to change environments or just be more connected over the course of time? Whatever it might be, all I want you to do is write down that problem. Once we write down the problem, we're able to kind of reverse engineer it and start to brainstorm about ways that we can kind of help, or people that we can get in to help us with these problems. Number 3, encourage ownership. What comes with this autonomy needs to be ownership from you as a leader, but also the people and staff around you. What I mean by that is you encourage people to use their initiative or to develop different ways of working that suits them. And it's clear that you need to be doing this because when we're in this type of model, you are not going to be able to see your direct reports or the people that, feed into you as much as possible, or, during the course of the week as many times. So therefore, encouraging that ownership of one's work, one's progress is going to be vitally important. That doesn't mean that you just let them go off on their own silo. When they are doing work and you're seeing them do work, it's important to be able to kind of communicate to them on what they're doing well. And the next point, we're going to talk about that. Develop your feedback model. Now, before this happened, you would have had a set feedback model about how you went about it, when you went about it. From my experience, especially in industries, is that feedback is not given often enough, and it doesn't have to be, a super long kind of feedback review. It just needs to be given more often, basically. Once you do that, and that goes back to that third point about talking about extreme ownership. When you can feed back to your team members about what they are doing right, it's going to help move you forward. Whereas how we see feedback, sometimes it can be deemed as a bit of a criticism, depending on how you deliver it and how you receive it. And a true leader, or a very, very good leader, is a person that knows how to give feedback and also get feedback. It's important to understand that as we move up the ranks, or as we move up the levels in business, our feedback seems to diminish. What do I mean by that? Well, if you think of a professional sports model, so you're a young talented football player, tennis player, golfer, whatever it might be, and as you move up the levels, you get more feedback. You might start to get some video feedback, you might start to get some feedback about your physical performance, lots of coaches helping you. But when we move to being a senior leader, that kind of feedback kind of disperses, and we're on our own as a silo of a leader. And the number of the leaders that I speak to are kind of get that feeling that they're lonely in terms of kind of steering their ship, and they need to kind of find feedback elsewhere. And that's okay. You just need to develop a model that ensures that the feedback gets done and gets done early. Number 5, how do we develop a team culture? We understand that in professional sport, team culture is vastly important for foundations. A good team culture drives performance, drives improvement, drives our values and our beliefs as individuals and as part of a team. But with a hybrid model, it's a little bit different because we're not seeing our people as much as we'd like to or could do. So how do we go about creating that culture? Well, one thing is to make sure that when you are together as a team, that you discuss this, that you reshape your values, because the values that worked maybe 12 months ago or 18 months ago might have changed now because of what's going on. I feel a lot of companies are now just applying the same model of work to how we were working 12 months ago. And we need to come up with new ideas and new ways of doing things. So sitting down with your team and saying, hey, look, what's been developed, or how do we change our culture now to improve performance or sustain performance, is going to be vitally important. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video. I hope you found it interesting, and I hope you found those 5 points useful and to get you thinking about how to embrace working in a hybrid model and how to sustain performance in that model and how to improve. There is a link in the description box to our peak performance test where you can go along and see how you're doing from our foundational performance indicators. So how well you're sleeping, your mental performance, your overall performance. It's a really good test to take because it identifies where you're doing well and areas that you need to improve. If you haven't already, I suggest that you head over and watch my video on the 7 skills of leadership and have a look at what I think are the most important things that leaders need to be doing this year and going forward into 2022. But that's all for now. Appreciate you watching again. Hit the like button, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more information coming about high performance in leadership.